Welcome back, everybody. I am Formal alongside Gex as we are geared up for our lower bracket final run. And not only, Gex, is a trip to the finals on the line, but we only have 2 rookies left, which means that Gaming Boy Award, it could be decided right here.
And we could see one of them go through to the grand final as well after that display from J-Swag last time. I think there's actually a good chance for that. Planetary Goose in particular has to watch their back here. Was fighting well against the likes of Spark and Min earlier on, was 3rd seed out of their Group A. But Complex and Black Feather going out of that last one means that J-Swag and SQLC are the last 2 rookies fighting for it, and they actually do have the pace within them to take this spot.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of fun things. I mean, I think going into this one, though, we'd each be in agreement. Spark right now is the favorite of the Heat.
Yes.
By, I don't want to say a considerable margin, but definitely looking very, very good. But yeah, 2 rookies fighting not only for, the Gaming Boy Award, but as well as that trip to the final. We'll be kind of keeping tracks on that. Again, the best performer out of the 2 will most likely win it unless both of them advance to the finals, which would be in a collapse from Spark. But hey, it could happen. Planetary Goose, I don't know if they'll push as hard as they did in that winter bracket final. I don't know if they'll have to, so I'm going to be expecting to see more consistency out of them. But they can play spoiler, kind of get themselves through as well. This is going to be a super fun heat.
Yeah. I mean, if we're looking at Group A, Planetary Goose is looking pretty good. Group A was so much stronger than Group B, other than Mutter up the front there. And really, Planetary Goose, I think, has a good chance. Just being 3rd in that group shows that there is some consistency and pace there, but like you said, consistency hasn't always been there. It was just in the placements, but yeah, we need to see it here and now under pressure. Look, I agree on the Spark front. I'm going to take a leaf out of your book though and go 70% chance that Spark takes this one.
Yeah, that's safe. That's where I'm at. I'd have to agree with you on that one. After that, I honestly have no clue. Although I will say this, going into Scarecrow first, this one was where we did see that last time the lead actually be taken quite significantly by, I believe it was J-Swag. Like this is where
first map, J-Swag was fast. Yep,
exactly, and they were the one who were kind of stealing, Min's lines along with this one. So I'm going to be very curious to see if J-Swag will be keeping up on Spark, on Scarecrow in and of itself, or we will be going first. I think that will really set the tone because I still think Spark wins it overall, but if J-Swag gets that good start and builds a gap over the likes of Planetary Goose and SQLC, that could be really great for them in the longer side of things. So I actually am going to say, you know what? My prediction is going to be J-Swag gets through in that 2nd spot. I'm going to take a risk on that one and give it to him.
I'm coin flipping on J-Swag and SQLC here after that last one. I mean, they were so close together there until that final round for the finalist position from J-Swag. I think I am leaning towards J-Swag as well. It's just the fact that, like you were pointing out, J-Swag taking a lot of lines and the cues from Min here. Also, the fact that I think, aside from maybe Spark in this group, J-Swag is evidently putting in more time into these tracks than a lot of the other players.
That said, I don't like how both of us are like not picking Goose because Goose did get through that winner's bracket all the way, to the winner's bracket final. That's not something we overlook. As we will see how that happens. Look, we're getting very, very close. 1 minute of warm-up until our 1 minute of warm-up is where we're sitting at right now. You can't say 2 minutes of warm-up, Gex, though. They're 2 separate.
No, yes, exactly. They are 2 separate warm-ups. Very distinct here. You can mess around with this one. You can't afford to mess around with the second warm-up.
Yeah, exactly. Like only one of them matters. Only one of them is official. And then we will get into this.
I want to know what the chat thinks about that. What are you guys using the 2 different formats of warm-up for?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're
busy,
right?
Chat's busy copy pastoring anyway.
That's what you use for warm up is looking up copy pastor, right?
Exactly.
That warm up is kitchen time to cook up, some spicy Italian treat in that regards. I'm keen though to see as well the New Zealand representatives. We said at the start of this event, a lot of drivers from New Zealand actually showing up to compete in this one today, and now with 2 of them here in our lower bracket final. Look, if only one of them gets through, we'll have 4 different nations representing our final. which would be pretty cool. Or we'll have 2 Kiwis in there, which would also be pretty cool as well. So definitely showing how wide the reach of our region is. We are moving into the official warm-up now, though. Just a minute to go before we kick off on this lower bracket final.
Actually, wouldn't be shocking to see multiple Kiwis in there. We did see the New Zealand tag out in force during qualifiers as well. They have performed very, very well across the board, and they usually do. We actually see a lot of these across World Tour coming out. These players from New Zealand doing incredibly well. Oh, big early error on the warm-up, but we're going to see who's got the consistency. Like I said, I think a lot of the players use the warm-up phase as kind of a they feel out where their most vulnerable positions are by just cutting the corners probably closer than they should and closer than they will when they get into their actual runs.
Yeah, I don't. I've seen too many drivers just, not take it seriously at all, or even make a lot of mistakes in the warm up and then come through and just blitz the first round. All right, I'm pretty sure that was what we saw Mutta doing yesterday, the one heat that we saw them in. So I'm not investing. I put no stocks into the warm-up. I put all my stocks into this round right here because we are kicking off our lower bracket final. The 2 Kiwis, the Russian and the Indian, all at it. The Indian might be the favorite. Spark looking very, very good, and SQLC in third. Planetary Goose already in a lot of strife.
As long as you don't put all your stocks into crypto. That is an unstable currency, Max. Won't hear of it.
You don't need to worry about that. I do not.
I know too many people. Spark coming through. Early lead here. J-Swag with the early drift there might actually really benefit out of that. J-Swag taking that wide turn. Yeah, exactly. Taking that huge initial amount of momentum through, but Spark has managed to hold him off with a decent lead as well and will hold first.
47.49. That's a pretty good time already. 3/10 off the world record. That's only the first round, but that looked so familiar to what happened when we were watching, Min, Mutta, and Spark go at it on this track as well. The difference was, I think, again, Min just a little bit more confident with those wider lines, was able to hold that momentum a little bit better and make the late overtake. We saw J-Swag get close, though, and this is what I mean. J-Swag following Min's lines looks pretty good, but Spark is that next level. So
Spark was contesting those two. You can't expect to drop off Min and Mutta and Spark have a easy competition against them. This is not going to be easy for anybody against Spark here, and that goes for J-Swag, who does set an incredible pace on this track.
Well, we'll see how it continues. I mean, again, J-Swag this time actually a little bit tighter than they were in the past, so they're not going to get that same amount of momentum, although hitting these next couple corners super tight. Actually, it looks like Spark is going to be the one with the late flurry of momentum. Everyone trying to chase down Goose, who may have had errors that first race, but now unfortunately could be losing out in terms of tempo in these final couple corners. It's going to be a sprint to the line, but it is all J-Swag right now. They'll get P1 with Spark right behind in P2.
47.498, 8 milliseconds from Spark's best out of round 1 there as well. Does hold the lead as far as best time goes here, but J-Swag is going to do that consistently. You've seen him take that wide turn, that massive amount of momentum. That's just what he does.
I think that is the optimal way to hit this track, to be quite frank. Either way, J-Swag and Spark tied after 2 rounds. This third round, though, looking much better, actually, again, for Planetary Goose. Now, Goose had the lead for the majority of the last round, kind of lost it in the end. I could see a world where they kind of turn that ship around and get themselves straightened out further back as well. SQLC, kind of quiet so far in this one, just not really those fast lines that the others have had, as we see Goose now take that wider line, but they bonk themselves out of the round.
But SQLC also, we saw that against J-Swag. This wasn't SQLC's track necessarily either. There was a bit of fight back, but it was J-Swag took the big lead that got him through in first place in this map against SQLC.
In the end, though, it will be Spark getting the round win. 2/10 off a world record, by the way. They're getting faster and faster as we go here on Scarecrow. We'll have one more round, and I almost wonder, if Spark can find those 2/10s. It's getting pretty close. Would love to see a world record get knocked out here as we kick this one off. It's only a 3-point lead of Spark over J-Swag, but the big lead already at 11 points between second and third.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the difference there between Spark's best time here and Min's world record is just the difference between those two players, as we saw in their last matchup. But they might get the rematch to prove otherwise yet. Spark is setting good paces here.
Look at
J-Swag, though, oh my goodness. The pace and the momentum gonna catch Spark here. Go wide again on this one, and more momentum yet again, pushing through this dirt turn. Really does hold a very good line on that as well. And it's gonna hold. J-Swag just has to hold an inside line and hope, but it's too much from J-Swag.
Yeah, that was going to be a monster round. You can see it setting up to begin with. J-Swag kind of lost a little bit at the end to really push for a world record, but does enough to equalize the standings overall. Similarly in the back, they're kind of tied right now for third, but 34-34, 16-16, Spark and J-Swag well and truly out in front as we finish off Scarecrow. A good show from them both.
It was actually a 47.4 there out from J-Swag there, though. Every single other finish from Spark would have beaten that run, which is an insane thing to say. It looked so quick.
Yeah, it was a fast one, but still, again, they lost that little bit at the end. It was all good until those last couple turns fell apart for them. Let's go to Technicolor, though. This has been a fun track, I feel like. We've always had. This is the track Spark would like to forget, actually. Go back to that winner bracket final. Spark could have won a couple rounds here, but wound up bonking at that very end. Similarly, this is where we saw SQLC actually catch back up to J-Swag in our lower bracket semifinal. So the standings could start to flip around at the end of this.
The problem here for SQLC, though, is that it wasn't only him that started to catch back up. This was a downside from SQLC when J-Swag managed to... this was a downside from J-Swag, sorry, when SQLC started to catch up, not the other way around. This is not J-Swag's proficient map. SQLC was the fastest, don't get me wrong, but everybody made gains there on J-Swag that round.
Yeah. But my point is, though, I mean, everyone needs to make gains on J-Swag again, right? Like, this is much more a case of, J-Swag could be in trouble here. And even Planetary Goose, you know, a bit of a rough first round. Had a rough round in that upper bracket final as well. I worry that Goose is just not in that good form that they were in yesterday. Either way, we're underway. And Goose, again, super hot starts. Like, always seems to be the driver in the lead after the first couple turns, but it's just not been able to hold it.
Oh. Coming around now, J-Swag is not making the same mistakes, but it really is this transition here. Coming in low, J-Swag does it right this time around, and Spark is even trailing.
Well, you can see here's where SQLC has been kind of making those late lunges. J-Swag trying to catch back up as we go in towards the ice section. And this is where we saw Spark frequently take the pass, and then they'll bog in that final end. Well, this time, only SQLC realistically has the momentum to catch J-Swag going into that final turn. SQLC goes a little bit wide, and that's going to cost them the round win. It goes to J-Swag, adding another 10 points to their total.
J-Swag is trying to correct the errors of the last time around on Technicolor. Wants to prove that this can be his map as well, and even beats out Spark in the first round. J-Swag now sitting out in front.
Yeah, J-Swag looking in such good form for the second heat in a row. Realistically, you can even say the third heat in a row as we continue along with this one across our initial dirt section. Again, things look a little bit awkward for Spark on this track. They're going to bonk early and lose a fair bit of ground. SQLC, if they can hold on to the lead, or at least find it again, they could get themselves a big chunk back up into second.
Yeah, Spark trailing by a lot here. Keeping in mind, Spark was second seed in the same group with J-Swag in 6th and SQLC in 7th. So this is going to be a big loss if Spark doesn't actually take this out in first place. I know we keep saying that, you know, you only have to be top 2, but you kind of don't for pride, right?
Well, no, you don't. You know who doesn't need to be top 2 is the good old J-Swag and SQLC fighting for that Gaming Boy Award. For them, it matters, and that round win is going to help SQLC. But again, we keep going back to the seeding. This is where Spark lost the lead in the seeding. This is where Spark fell apart. This track just historically has not been good for Spark.
Yeah, no, it was where J-Swag lost it last one as well. So both Spark and J-Swag hoping to starve off the inevitable disaster here, but Spark has already seen a little bit of it in that last run. Let's see if he can bring it back. SQLC coming around this corner now into the grass section, looking for a good clip on that booster through into the high transition. This is kind of a pace setter for the track. Low transition from SQLC is too low, clips it and gets held back.
Yeah, and look at who's even further back. J-Swag had some early bonks that kind of fell right out of this one. I don't know what it is about this track, but J-Swag and SQLC, constant struggles here in Technicolor. This was going to be the avenue for Spark to kind of now maybe get themselves back in it. Planetary Goose, though, out in front, hasn't won a round yet. Could be their time. All they need to do is stick the ending. That they barely do. Spark got close. Not close enough. Round goes to the Goose.
14 milliseconds out of Spark, and it would have been a different story, but Planetary Goose out ahead will actually stop Spark closing the gap quite as much, or rather opening it back up again.
Yes, we are past that halfway point for J-Swag. Spark right up there with them. SQLC feels like they've been at that 11-12 point differential ever since the second round. They haven't really lost any more ground, but they haven't gained it yet either. I think a round win would do the Russian wonders here as we get our way through these initial parts of the track.
Initial parts serving Spark very well here. Again, has to be a good transition here. Nice and low without clipping. This is a fairly mid entry through that. Does go deep, but it's not too bad to lose momentum there. Just not going to gain it like you can.
As we see troubles for Planetary Goose towards the back right there. J-Swag as well having issues on this one. It's between, well, no, it's not between anybody. It's all Spark because SQLC bonks as well. And Spark, it's going to be the easiest round that they've had thus far. Just stick the landing. Don't even need to risk it. That's going to be the win for Spark. Another 10 points. And J-Swag, who was the first one to come off, actually still comes across in second.
SQLC really needed that placement in at least second as well. That bonk costing them any gain back there on second place as well. So this is SQLC still in reach, but that continues to grow. That lead between first, second, and then third.
Yeah, it's that gap growing as we go to Cherry for our next track. And when we get prepared for this one, it is looking more and more likely Spark and J-Swag are just that little bit of a tier above SQLC and Planetary Goose today. They'd be the two favorites to make it through right now. And again, for J-Swag, not only would that mean a trip to the Grand Final, but that Gaming Boy Award, it could be theirs.
Yeah. Clearly, J-Swag was sandbagging in the placements, right? Down in sixth. Yeah. You can't tell me that is deserved by watching this now. I think there's been big improvements overnight from J-Swag, though. This is a lot better than I was expecting him to look, and really consistent today.
Critty, if you can reserve me those seats as well, that would be fantastic. I'm going to be visiting Cherry in the near future. I heard there's going to be a big event going on. Yeah, I want the ones down at the bottom. I feel like that's the VIP.
Yeah, the very bottom one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So everyone, when they get angry and just like start throwing litter, I just want it all to land on my head. All right,
you climb the litter and then you end up above everybody. It's a late game play.
Yeah, if it rains, it floods down there. Like there's no drainage.
You're swimming. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they call that seat, the swimming pool.
Shout out to Critty, by the way, our producer for this event, finding the greatest seats you can find for every single one of these tracks during these intermissions. Fantastic stuff. But let's get underway. This is live, no longer warm up. It's been a two-way battle between J-Swag and Spark up to this point, but still plenty of time left for that comeback. If Goose can continue to get these fast starts and then maybe a couple fast finishes, who knows? The first challenge could be on.
Somebody in the chat just said, at least you're safe in that seat. You haven't seen me drive, friend. You are not safe in that seat. I will find you.
That sounds like a threat, guys. I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
It's not by choice. I will end up there. That's just, it's going to happen.
Well. And I will be contacting the Queensland DMV to have a look at your driver's license as we stand through this right now. Planetary Goose does have a car lengths lead. Spark trying to catch back up, but won't get him this time. The Goose gets a much-needed round win.
See who needs their driver's license checked this time around. It's actually J-Swag, who that is a bit of a shock coming into Cherry that J-Swag would be last out there. A bit of a game back by Spark now into first place.
Yeah, still going to need A bit more work, though, from Goose if they're going to go ahead and catch that second place position. That's the chase that is on right now.
Above SQLC now.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, SQLC back and forth, actually, a little bit awkward, so they also want that round win. I feel like surprising to see SQLC actually struggling as much as they are in this heat. I thought they'd be a little bit further up there. Maybe here is where they turn it around, although that wide line, not as much momentum as what Spark and Goose took on the inside.
No, not at all. SQLC struggling to push through here. You can see that these are just starting to get a little bit untidy for some of the players here. This is a lot of pressure, but SQLC takes the wide line, gets a bunch of momentum, and that is so major going in through this plastic section. If you can get it, it's good for J-Swag here, though. SQLC has to take in the last corner, but can't. The bonk is going to cost Planetary Goose there as well. Spark well back there, almost full second to Spark, and J-Swag will get back again here.
It was Spark who bonked when I called it out right there, just slightly off the checkpoint, and it kind of cost them running for that lead. So J-Swag again up in first place, but the big thing is that like 12 to 15 point gap again from second to third. It hasn't changed. It feels like this entire race, and every time someone like Goose gets a round win, the next round it all falls apart for them. Very difficult showing from our drivers in third and fourth right now. Maybe this is where it could turn around. I mean, SQLC is looking pretty confident on this track. They just need to not bottle the finish, and they should be okay.
And where's the Planetary Goose we saw take third in placements here as well? Second was Spark, third now is Planetary Goose, but it is just, you're right, there is just a class difference between Spark and Planetary Goose in third. That top three right now, Min, Mudder, Spark, are looking so good, but somehow, out of nowhere, there comes J-Swag.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we can put J-Swag up in that list as well. Yeah. Another round win for the Kiwi. They're going to move to 82 points back to back on this. And yeah, they're looking in a pretty good spot right now, pushing that lead ever closer to that finalist points for SQLC and Planetary Goose. Well, I mean, the name of the game is Run Down Spark, and Spark had a bit of a roughie that last round as well. It does look like SQLC is getting closer. If Spark can't regain some of that form that they had at the start, I mean, the past two rounds have been rough. Maybe he could get dramatic at the end.
Might need to. Planetary Goose is actually remaining out ahead a little way at the start here. Spark gets a bit of a lead, but might actually be more momentum out of Planetary Goose here. Decent landing, will get a good angle to turn in on the grass. Doesn't lose much momentum on it, but not as clean a transition. Does get a wheel down early though, and is able to keep up pace. Has to win this through the plastic section though, and might just do it a straighter line through the plastic section, but oh my goodness, Spark is just holding it. There is a big bonk there though, and that's going to cost one player dearly. J-Swag is way back now, and Spark does hold off Planetary Goose for the ending.
Yeah, STLC was the one who kind of lost it at the end right there. Again, just an awkward bonk at the tail end of it all. But with Planetary Goose early, sorry, not with J-Swag early kind of knocking themselves out, that was a prime opportunity for both Goose and SQLC to come back into it a bit. Only one of them took advantage of it, but that, I believe, is going to do us for Cherry. So we're going to move on to our next track. And I mean, this is where I think we're going to see our first finalists come through. It's going to be Putumau, where we started the day. It's where we're going to be possibly finishing our lower bracket run. Both Spark and J-Swag only a couple rounds away from getting the finalist point.
This is by far our most even bracket of any we have seen so far. And 1 point between Spark and J-Swag, only a couple between SQLC and Planetary Goose. And both of them are only 2 wins away from getting really back into this as well for at least that second place position. Guaranteed that we're just about guaranteed, at least, that we're going to see Spark and J-Swag finalists at the same time looking for first place.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if it does come together in that way. Obviously, we'll need to see the form of them on this track, but it is looking very likely that they will probably have a shootout between the two of them in order to get through, or at worst, it'll be one of them qualifies through at the same time the other one gets the finalist point. I can see that happening as well. It is on SQLC and Goose who can catch up, but the problem is SQLC and Goose, they've also been kind of getting in each other's way as well, back in third place, and they did lose ground on Cherry, actually. They were about like 12 points behind going into it. Now they're nearly 20. So it's going to take a pretty Herculean effort for either of the two to get in there at the end. Here we go, though. Putamao, a chance for Spark and J-Swag to get close to getting to that finalist point.
SQLC now coming out with an early second place here, but setting good pace. Does come through into first for a second. Oh, it's a bad transition up, though. Lost time to some air found there. Now we'll be chasing this pack up.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, Goose in the lead, as is tradition for the start of these rounds, but they tend to lose out in the middle and late, and that's where Spark is trying to jump on them. J-Swag a little bit further behind, took a higher landing, but I don't think has enough momentum to make any overtakes unless they can really stick this one. All of a sudden, J-Swag trying to stream up, won't be able to make the ground initially, but now they're getting close onto the pipes. Here comes J-Swag. What a comeback, what a round win.
Absolutely huge. An error early. It looked like J-Swag wasn't going to be in big contest for that, but makes some major time in the back half of that track and gets that point out. Now 4 ahead, still nothing between these players, but either one of them can be a finalist from this round forward.
Realistically,
yeah, both of them at the same time could. Yeah, absolutely.
J-Swag just needs a top 3 finish. Spark would need to win the round, so Spark's going to be looking for the win. J-Swag's going to be looking for 3rd or higher. Goose is going to be happy with that 2nd place. Don't get me wrong, it cuts into it, but the fact that we could see 2 finalists at the end of this one
most
is
likely
going to be
will.
putting pressure on Goose.
Spark out ahead is looking like it will be 2 finalists coming out of this round, with J-Swag chasing up. As long as neither makes a big error here, the pace is kind of set. There's some space between Spark and J-Swag now. This is a good pace set by Spark. I don't know that Spark knows he has time to spare. J-Swag nearly makes an error. Very low transition there. Doesn't maintain big time. And it's an error there. J-Swag is going to sacrifice a lot. Has to be 3rd and will be as SQLC makes an error again there. That is brutal. SQLC is going out in 4th here. J-Swag is guaranteed his finalist position as well, and Spark coming in 1st means they both will. 2 finalists out of this round. Putamao might be the decider.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're kind of looking at this from Goose's perspective, winning in. Like, you've got to win these rounds now. Same with SQLC. Technically, they are in that same spot, but SQLC has really been struggling on this map. Goose, back-to-back 2nd place, is more where my eye is on, but between Spark and J-Swag, I mean, look, we kind of saw these two would be battling till the very end. This could be the end right here unless Goose does something magical.
Yeah, Goose and SQLC, it's winning in, but it is one and done for both Spark and J-Swag here. They only need 1 win out to secure their spot. Spark is leading. J-Swag in 3rd right now. Planetary Goose showing some real life on Putamao, but has to win out entirely to really give themselves a chance here.
Well, they're looking pretty good right now. The lower line, the deeper line, doesn't hold the speed initially, but they're going to try to find some speed late. Goose goes wide, though, and that could cost them across the line. It's going to be Spark. They barely held on, but they still do it. They're going to the grand final.
And J-Swag could have been our 1st finalist, but comes in dead last. Doesn't even finish there. That is a big error there from one of the finalists. J-Swag can make it up easily, though. Planetary Goose still needs a few in a row to even contest 2nd here.
Yeah, that said as well, though, not only will J-Swag be going to the grand final with a win, as they get a very good start, they would also be winning the Gaming Boy Award. So a couple of accolades on the line for the Trident driver out of New Zealand, but it's their countryman right now, Planetary Goose, that's looking to steal that lead away.
Gaming Boy, such an influential figure in our scene here, momentous to many of these players. It is fitting that it is a rookie award here. Goose has just, I think, lost the chance entirely to be able to make a 2nd, even if J-Swag were to lose this, but it's not happening. J-Swag, he's going to get the award. He's going through as our 2nd finalist. 2 Spark there in 1st. A good push at the end there from Planetary Goose, but in the end, the pressure is too much. The error comes out, and SQLC will be coming in 4th there as well.
What a fun heat that one was. Again, I love this battle between Spark and J-Swag, and I'm excited to see them go at it again in the grand final here, Gex. But a little bit heartbreaking, I feel like, for SQLC in particular, who had, you know, maybe some higher expectations in order to perform. One of the drivers we expected to make to the finals at the start of this event coming up short. And for Planetary Goose to get all the way to the winner's bracket final, but then miss out on that grand final, it's going to be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow.
It will. J-Swag, though, coming out. We've got to give him the award. Best Rookie of AOTC 2023. The Gaming Boy 2508 award will be going across to J-Swag after a run that doesn't just cement him as the Rookie of the season. I think he also is coming through looking like one of these top 3 now. He is putting the test to Mutter and Min.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it does play out when we get there as we take a look at the award. Also, you know what? This is the Asia/OCE Trackmania Championship, right? That AOTC. Well, it's only fitting that we have 2 from Asia and 2 from OCE in that final. You know, Korea and India representing Asia, and of course OCE, Australia, New Zealand. It doesn't get much more poetic and much more exciting than this. So again, congratulations to J-Swag, Rookie of the tournament award. Congratulations out to them. We're going to be going to a break before our grand final. 1 more game left and we're up in the stakes. 120 points in that last round, so it's going to be a little bit longer and it's going to be a lot more fun. Stick around. We'll be right back.